Hey there, language explorers. Welcome back to another chapter of the Hobbit adventure. In today's episode, we dive deeper into the tension and excitement of the dwarves' secret meeting. Things are heating up and questions are rising. Can our quiet little hobbit really be part of something this big? There's a mix of doubt, curiosity, and even a little humor in the air. And as always, there's plenty of rich language and fun expressions to discover. So grab your notepad or your favorite snack, and let's explore the story together, word by word, line by line. Let's get started. Excitable little fellow, said Gandalf as they sat down again. Gets funny, queer fits, but he is one of the best, one of the best. As fierce as a dragon in a pinch. If you have ever seen a dragon in a pinch, you will realize that this was only poetical exaggeration applied to any hobbit, even old Took's great-granduncle Bulror, who was so huge for a hobbit that he could ride a horse. He charged the ranks of the goblins of Mount Graham in the Battle of the Green Fields, and knocked their King Galfimble's head clean off with a wooden club. It sailed 100 yards through the air and went down a rabbit hole, and in this way the battle was won and the game of golf invented at the same moment. In the meanwhile, however, Bulror's gentler descendant was reviving in the drawing room. After a while and a drink, he crept nervously to the door of the parlor. This is what he heard: Gloin speaking humph, or some snort more or less like that. Will he do you think? It is all very well for Gandalf to talk about this hobbit being fierce, but one shriek like that in a moment of excitement would be enough to wake the dragon and all his relatives and kill the lot of us. I think it sounded more like fright than excitement. In fact, if it had not been for the sign on the door, I should have been sure we had come to the wrong house. And that's the end of today's reading. One moment, so many emotions, doubts, and a bit of unexpected humor too. But you know what time it is now? Yep, it's time to dive into the vocabulary. We're going to look at some cool words and expressions from the passage and break them down to make them super easy and fun to understand. But before we jump in, if you're enjoying this journey through The Hobbit, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us what you thought about today's scene. It really helps support the channel and keeps the adventure going. All right, let's explore the words. Someone who's excitable gets emotional or worked up really easily, like someone jumping at the sound of a balloon pop. Bilbo is a bit like that. Nervous energy just waiting to explode. It makes him relatable, doesn't it? Fellow is an old-fashioned but friendly way to refer to a person, usually a man. It can sound casual or even affectionate, like saying this guy or this buddy. Gandalf uses it with a kind of fondness. This phrase is a poetic way of saying someone acts in strange or unpredictable ways, like sudden mood swings. Bilbo's nerves often get the better of him, so he has these fits where he panics. It's part of what makes him so human. When someone says this, they mean that person is truly exceptional in some way. Gandalf says it about Bilbo, even with all his odd behaviors, reminding us that strength isn't always loud or flashy. Fierce describes someone who's intense and powerful, like a lion or a warrior. Gandalf uses it to describe Bilbo, which is funny at first, but maybe Bilbo has a fierceness inside we haven't seen yet. A pinch usually means a small squeeze, but in this context it means a tight or difficult situation. Saying someone is fierce in a pinch means they shine when things get tough, when it really matters. Poetical is just a fancier way to say poetic, full of imagination or expressive language. When Gandalf talks about Bilbo like he's a dragon, it's not literal, it's colorful storytelling. This means stretching the truth for effect, making something seem bigger, better, or worse than it really is. It's like saying, I've told you 1,000,000 times when it's only been twice. To apply, something means to use it or direct it towards something. Here, exaggeration is applied to Bilbo, so the big dragon-like image is being used to describe him, even if it's not totally accurate. This is your grandfather's uncle, a relative pretty far up the family tree. Tolkien's storytelling is full of long family histories, and this phrase gives Bilbo's family a legendary feel. To ride means to sit on and control something like a horse, bike, or even a dragon, if you're lucky. In Bilbo's world, most hobbits are too small to ride horses, so it's kind of a big deal. A horse isn't just an animal. It's a symbol of adventure and nobility. If a hobbit can ride one, that means he's no ordinary hobbit. To charge means to rush forward with energy, often in battle. Bull Roarer's charge shows he wasn't just big for a hobbit. He was brave and bold, like a tiny tank on legs. Ranks refer to lines or groups of soldiers. Charging the ranks means diving into a formation of enemies. Scary stuff, especially for someone as small as a hobbit. Here, mount means mountain, like Mount Graham. It sounds grander and more epic, right? Perfect for a fantasy tale filled with adventures and ancient battles. A battle is a big fight between groups, usually part of a war. Battles in Tolkien's world are often turning points where heroes are made or legends are born. To knock, something means to hit it or push it with force. Bull Roarer knocked a goblin's head clean off. Yikes! That's some serious strength for a hobbit. A king is the ruler of a group or land, often powerful and respected or feared. In this story, the Goblin King doesn't fare too well, not with Bull Roarer around. We all have one. It's where we think, see, and speak. But when it gets knocked clean off, even in fantasy, it's a dramatic, even darkly funny image. This means something was removed completely and neatly, like slicing a tomato in one go. Saying a head was knocked clean off adds an almost cartoonish clarity to the image. A club is a heavy stick used as a weapon. Simple, but effective. Bull Roarer didn't need a sword, just a big wooden stick and some courage. Sailed means something flew smoothly through the air like a boat on water. It's a surprising and almost elegant word for a flying goblin head. A yard is about the length of a grown man's stride. If something sails 100 yards, it really flew far, making the whole moment even more epic and bizarre. This phrase helps us picture motion, something flying, not just falling. It adds that magical, cinematic feel to the scene. A rabbit hole is literally where a rabbit lives, but in stories, it often suggests a twist or surprise. In The Hobbit, it's just where the Goblin King's head lands. Wild, right? To win means to come out on top, to succeed. The hobbits won the battle, but in a very unusual and memorable way. A game is something we play for fun, but in Tolkien's world, even games can be born out of battle. That's how golf, yes, really, gets its imaginary origin here. To invent something is to create it for the first time. According to this funny tale, golf was invented thanks to a goblin head and a rabbit hole. At the same moment, this phrase means two things happen at once. It adds humor and surprise to the scene, battle victory and game invention, all in one swing. To revive means to recover or come back to life, often after fainting or getting overwhelmed. Poor Bilbo just needed a little rest and maybe a strong drink. This is a formal sitting room in a house, often used for guests. It sounds fancy and cozy, exactly the kind of place a hobbit would recover. To creep means to move slowly and quietly, like you don't want to be noticed. Bilbo does this a lot, especially when he's unsure or scared. This describes doing something with worry or fear. Bilbo doesn't strut. He tiptoes with wide eyes and shaky hands. Poor guy. A parlor is another name for a sitting room, often small and private. In older houses, it's where guests would be entertained or eavesdrop on important conversations. A snort is a quick, noisy sound from your nose, often showing disbelief or annoyance. Gloin's snort says everything he's thinking about Bilbo's fierceness. Excitement is a strong feeling of joy, nervousness, or energy. But when it gets too big too fast, well, sometimes it sounds more like a scream than a cheer. Relatives are the people in your extended family, cousins, uncles, distant grandmothers. Gloin jokes that Bilbo's scream might wake not just the dragon, but all its sleepy family too. A serious and strong word, kill, means to end someone's life. Here it's used darkly, but with a hint of exaggeration, another one of Tolkien's playful dramatic moments. Fright is sudden fear, like when something jumps out at you. Gloin thinks Bilbo didn't scream from bravery, but from pure panic. A sign can be a physical mark or a symbol that gives information. Here, it's probably the special mark Gandalf put on Bilbo's door, telling the dwarves this is the right house. Wrong means incorrect or mistaken. Gloin almost believes they're in the wrong house, just because Bilbo seems way too scared to be part of their plan. And that's the end of this part of the story, folks. Poor Bilbo. He's been called fierce, dramatic, and even dragon-like. But deep down, he's still just a nervous little hobbit who'd rather be sipping tea in his cozy parlor. Still, something tells me there's more to him than meets the eye. Before you go, don't forget to like this video if you learned something new, and subscribe so you don't miss the next part of Bilbo's unexpected journey. Hit that bell so you're the first to know when we're back with more dragons, dwarves, and delightful English lessons. See you next time.